and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book related movies and TV shows. I'm your host Nick, and joining me as always is my co-host Anthony.
Hello.
Hiya, you alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a tough week having to sit and watch Ghost Rider and then watch it again so that I can make my notes.
It took me 2 goes, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
I had to do it 2 times to do the note, but yeah, it was funny the first time. Obviously, we'll go through it. We're spoiling the end of the podcast already, aren't we?
I know, yeah.
We'll go through it, but yeah, it was funny the first time, and then the second time it wasn't so funny after a day.
First time was funny, second time was just sad.
Second time was just hard work. Yeah, it wasn't good. But this is the sort of thing that we do for our listeners. We punish ourselves and go through all the torture so that I was going to say that they don't have to, but they'd have had to watch Ghost Rider anyway. Otherwise, they're not going to know what we're talking about. Anyway, we've got quite a busy show today. We've got quite a few things to not review, but to talk through, because even though there's not been any MCU stuff out this week, there's been quite a lot of new releases, shall we say, and a fair bit of news as well. So this week we're talking DC news. We've got some Superman news. We're going to talk about the Phase 4 preview, Marvel's Phase 4 preview that got released earlier in the week. We've got some Star Wars Day news. The Bad Batch premiere came out. There's more on the real lightsabers. Remember we talked about that a couple weeks ago? There's more news on the real lightsabers. There has been a new trailer for Stranger Things that we'll talk through. There's been some randomly Detective Pikachu news. We'll talk about that. We've got Jupiter's Legacy to talk about, and all that is going to be before we do our bad movie review, as we said, of Ghost Rider. Clearly, as we said, there's a lot in there, so as usual, we will put timestamps in the description so you can skip ahead. I don't know why you'd want to skip straight to Ghost Rider, to be fair. But if you do, if you like to punish yourselves and torture yourselves, you can do that. So this week, as always, I don't know why I said this week, we've got spoilers pretty much all the way through, because we're going to be talking about Bad Batch, we're going to be talking about Jupiter's Legacy. There's speculation as well in the news, as always, and we might potentially spoil things for you. We never guess right, but we this could be the week. This could be the week.
We'll be saying that in 5 years' time.
We will be. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it right.
We'll do it.
One day we're gonna get something. We're gonna get something right. I thought we had it spot on with your Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I know. I was so gutted. You know.
I've still not quite got over that, but hey ho, we'll be all right. Next week then. We always tell you what we're going to do next week. So this is a big one this week. We've put it on Twitter. We've put it on Facebook. Next week, we will be starting on the podcast the Loki Takeover and the build-up to Loki.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about this.
I am really excited to go through it, to start it, and to obviously go through it as well. So next Sunday, which is May 16th, we will be starting the Takeover with the Loki Countdown. So each week, we're going to revisit Loki's major appearances throughout the MCU. So we're going to start with Thor. We're going to work right our way through to Thor Ragnarok. We will do the brief appearances that he had in Infinity War and Endgame, because we want to make sure we get his whole story before we start going through the reviews. So after we've done that, when the series starts, or episode 1 releases of Loki, we're going to continue the takeover, and we're going to do the review of the episode every week. We know that Loki and Marvel have altered the timelines, and they've changed the release date for Loki. So instead of being on a Friday, it is now going to be a Wednesday. So they're saying that Wednesdays is the new Fridays.
Thanks, Disney.
Thanks Disney and Marvel. So on the podcast, we're going to change it up a little bit as well. So Fridays will be the new Sundays when we release our episodes. Yeah. We're not going to do it for the whole takeover. We'll stick with Sundays to do the Loki countdown, and then we will, for the 6 weeks while they're releasing the Loki episodes, we will change it up. So we will be releasing our episodes on a Friday, so that you don't have to wait half a week basically to listen to the review. Yeah. And every week, as I said, as we've always done with the reviews, we want your theories. Get in touch, send us theories, send us your thoughts on the episode each week, and we'll 100% try and include them in the episode each week for you as well. But yeah, time to crack on. Are you excited? Are you excited for the Loki Takeover then?
I am really excited, to be fair.
It's been a while since I've watched all the Thor 1 and Thor 2, to be fair.
I know, and it's different when because each time you watch the film, you have a certain focus. So the fact that I'll be watching it for Loki's story time specifically, it's going to be a new way of taking it all in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah,
So,
clearly we'll break down the whole film.
Yeah.
But Loki's going to be the main focus, so that we can just get completely caught up with his story before we start the Loki series. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. Before we start the news, as we always say, if you're enjoying the show, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for tuning in every week. It'd be a massive help to us. I mean a lot to us if you are enjoying it. If you would leave us a 5-star review on Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts, it really helps us get noticed. It really helps us, move up in the search on the podcast websites. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be absolutely brilliant. News then. We'll start with DC news then. So there has been a bit of news about the Green Lantern Corps movie, which I think we all thought had been forgotten and abandoned by Warner Brothers, but to be fair, who knows what they're doing. Heroic Hollywood has released some info that the film is still in development at Warner Brothers and that Jon Stewart is going to be the lead character. That makes sense because they wouldn't let Zack Snyder use him in the Justice League movie, would they? Either version. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's going to be a bit confusing though, potentially, because we talked last week they're going to be moving ahead with a Green Lantern series as well, though, aren't they? With that dude from American Horror Story. I don't know his name, I can't remember, but the guy that we talked about last week from American Horror Story.
Finn, what's his name? Yeah,
Finn, like Wittrock or something like that.
Yeah.
That's that. We'll go with that. His name is now Finn Wittrock. It might be completely wrong, but that's what we're sticking with. So the famous Finn Wittrock is going to be starring in the TV series. I don't know do you think they're going to tie them in together and have it be a bit like Marvel are doing with, like Falcon Winter Soldier in the movies, or they need it's a mess there, in it though. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So we've got a couple of bits of Superman news. Tom Welling, God, he hasn't been in the news for a while, has he?
No, but I did see this.
Did you see this? Yeah,
I did. Yeah.
So I've got to pronounce the name of the YouTube channel. So he got interviewed by a YouTube channel which is called El Mundo Geek de Ernestonator. I apologize if I've completely butchered that name. He said he'd love to return as Superman, and he'd ideally like to return in his buddy Robert Pattinson's Batman movie, the Batman. Do you reckon they're buddies, or do you reckon he's one of them people who just says everyone's my mate? Like I met some guy and now he's my best mate.
Sounds kind of like me.
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing I do. Yeah, literally, the fella who works in Tesco and Sainsbury's, they're my busy mates because they spoke to me when they were serving me. My mate. I'm not surprised. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not surprised he wants to be in the movie. I mean, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he want to be in the movie? It's gonna be a big movie. I think it's probably unlikely that he's gonna show up, considering it's pretty much like 99% been filmed already. But
yeah,
that we're getting into. We're clearly getting into a multiverse type thing going on there, aren't we? So yeah. I think it'd be quite interesting to see Tom Welling suit up as Superman, because we've not seen it apart from like the last 5 seconds of Smallville when we saw him, get his suit, pull his shirt open to see the suit.
Do you know what? Shock horror. I never watched Smallville.
Haven't you?
No.
It's good, I mean, it's probably not good now if you go back and watch it, but it was all right at the time. It lulled a little bit towards the end, but
did it?
It was all right, to be fair. There's also been some news about the Superman reboot that we talked about a few weeks ago that J.J. Abrams is producing. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting, because that's what they do every week, they're reporting that he's not going to be directing it. They want to go for a black director because they're having a black Superman, which makes sense. I'm good with that. What they have said, though, is, which I think we knew, it's not going to be part of the DCEU, but it's going to be in a separate universe, like Matt Reeves' The Batman movie, but it's not going to be in the Matt Reeves Batman movie universe. So it's going to be another separate universe. Talking about the universes as well, they've also reported that there is a Joker sequel happening.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Joaquin Phoenix, and that's obviously in its own universe again. I mean, They've tried to break it down a little bit. They've said that, or the Hollywood Reporter is saying that all these things are happening in separate universes, but the Flash movie will kind of draw them all together apart from the Batman universe. So the Joker universe and the Superman universe are all going to be part of the multiverse, but the Batman Robert Pattinson movie won't get dragged into that multiverse. I'm trying to keep up with this while I'm talking, but it sounds extremely
overly complicated, isn't it?
It is so quickly. They're doing what they did with Justice League. Avengers and Marvel spent years putting this all together to get to the point where we can have
and they're rushing it again.
And we're trying to rush it through. We're going to do, I didn't mention this, I know we normally do shout-outs at the end, but we're going to kind of do them as we go through, relevant to each bit of news this week, because they're not about Ghost Rider, because no one wants to talk about Ghost Rider. So another Marvel guy who has a YouTube channel, who we speak to on Twitter, he put it quite well. He said that Warner Brothers can't even successfully put together one universe, so what makes them think they're going to be able to manage multiple ones? Absolutely spot on, absolutely correct. I don't know. It's maybe they're going to use this Flash movie to pull it all together. It'll tidy everything up. It'll sort out all these separate universes. I wouldn't bet money on it though.
But you know what? If they did, then all I'd do is tell them to tie it in a bow and box it off. That's it. Quit while you're
just
ahead.
Wrap it up and don't continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it works and it's good, don't do anything more with it because you'll ruin it. Basically,
just leave it. Yeah. End on a high note.
Yeah.
End on a high note. I agree. Yeah. Marvel news. There's loads of Marvel news this week. We had the Phase 4 preview video, which got released. I can't remember what day it was. I think it was last weekend, probably just after we recorded the podcast, because Marvel just like to mess with us.
Yeah, it was.
So they released that. It was good. It was had a voiceover by Stan Lee, which was nice because he talked about everyone being part of the Marvel family. It was nice, wasn't it? I mean, we missed Stan, so it was nice to get him involved. And I've heard that message before, but it's nice. And I think with all the, for want of a better word, shit that's going on in the world at the moment, it's nice for you. He's saying
there's a bit of positivity on it.
Yeah, that guy there, he's your brother. That lady there, she's your sister. We're all part of one big family. So it was nice. It was a nice little sentiment to have added on. And what it did was it pretty much just talked us through the entire Phase 4. So we got some new footage for Black Widow. We got a little bit of new footage for Shang-Chi. And we finally got some footage of the Eternals, which we've been waiting on for a long time and seemed very overdue. And didn't really give much away. We had a few shots of the cast. We didn't see anyone in costume. I don't think we saw anyone in costume. And we got a shot of Angelina Jolie with... It looked like she had like a sword made out of light, similar to how Doctor Strange had in Infinity War. I might have sort of remembered that completely wrong, but that's what it looked like to me. But again, Marvel, it's all about tying everything in, isn't it? So it's good. I said didn't give much away, but it got me excited for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't wait for a full trailer on that. We then got reminded that we've got Spider-Man No Way Home coming out. They didn't give us any footage. I would imagine that's because it's a Sony movie, and even though it's going to be part of Phase 4, Sony, I would guess, want to be the ones to release the first footage for it. There has been a few bits of Spider-Man No Way Home news this week. There was a rumour going around all over social media that there was going to be a set photo leaked, I think last weekend, and it gave away a massive spoiler. I didn't see one. I don't know if it's if it was real, whether it was just people just trying to stir up shit, for want of a better word, and just create a little bit of hype. But yeah, nothing came out. There were rumours that it was going to be Matt Murdock on set, which would have been great. I don't know whether that would be a big spoiler because I think everyone's sort of not figured it out, but
everyone's just kind of moving along with that idea that it's happening, aren't they?
Yeah, we're all going to be devastated if this doesn't happen.
I know, yeah.
Which leads us on to the next little bit of Spider-Man news. Andrew Garfield's done a few interviews this week. I don't know why he's being interviewed, but I've seen him do a couple of them. He got interviewed by Josh Horowitz on this Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, and he said, "I can't speak for anything else but myself. They might be doing something, but I ain't got a call. I did not get a call." So he's just completely flat out denying that he's got any sort of involvement in Spider-Man No Way Home. I really hope he's lying.
But the thing is, if you've been told under your contract that you are not allowed to reveal it before it happens, then that's what he's got to say.
Of course, I get that, but no, it's like we talked about Michael B. Jordan last week when he got asked about Superman, and he kind of gave he didn't say no. He kind of gave a bit of a no, like we said, like politician's answer, which kind of is like, well, I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no. And he did. Andrew Garfield hasn't. He's just given a flat no. It's not happening. He said that he'd like to be part of it, but he said it's not happening. So fingers crossed. He's just doing a better job than Tom Holland. He's a little bit more convincing. We also got the 2022 dates confirmed for the Phase 4 films there. So we got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is now. I think it was already confirmed for this date, but they showed on the logo that it's going to be March 25th, 2022. There's been a little bit of news about Doctor Strange. It's a tough week, Anthony. It's Ghost Rider still affected me. Doctor Strange news. We had the Spotlight Talent Agency has listed one of their actors as being New Yorker 616, which would, we think, imply that at some point in all these different multiverses, we are going to visit Earth 616, which in the comics is like the golden age Marvel universe. So it's like, like the 1950s and 60s Iron Man and Captain America, like the original versions of all these heroes. So I think that'd be quite interesting to go back and see, like, I think we knew we were going to get potentially different versions of like Cap and Iron Man and stuff like that, but going back to like a reality where they were all heroes in like the 50s and 60s, like the golden age of comics. I think that'll be quite interesting to see. We got Thor date, which Thor Love and Thunder is May 6th, 2022. News on that, bit of a rumor, speculation. Sacha Baron Cohen has been spotted in Australia hanging out with all the cast of Thor Love and Thunder, which has led to speculation that he will potentially cameo in the movie, potentially as one of the gods that Gore the God Butcher slays, for want of a better word. Like we think Russell Crowe is going to be Zeus and just get killed within like 10 seconds of the movie. There's talk and speculation that Sacha Baron Cohen will be in there. I could see that happening and working very well with Taika Waititi being the director. I think I can't imagine what god he would be, but I think that'd be very interesting to see Sacha Baron Cohen pop up, or one of the theatre troupe. That'd be quite interesting as well. Maybe like the director. That'd be good. Probably one of the biggest bits of news for release dates and titles. Black Panther. We've got a date confirmed of July the 8th, 2022, and we know it is going to be called Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I like that.
And me,
I like it.
Well, I read up a little bit on that, and apparently the focus is on Wakanda as a whole. In the film, rather than being directly about the Black Panther.
Okay.
I don't. That's literally all I've read, but
there's not. But it's probably one of the only bits that I've not got like a little bit of extra news for, because
the title itself is the bit of news, isn't it? That's the thing. So
it's massive news. I think they're trying to leave it off as long as possible before we get any sort of confirmation as to what they're going to do with T'Challa. And I don't know. I don't think I want him to be like recast or anything like that, because I think they need to run with. I don't think it'd go against Chadwick Boseman's memory, but I think they just need to leave Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. How they're gonna move forward with it, I don't know. I'm excited to see it. But I think they're gonna. I think from how Disney have been handling things like racism and stuff like that in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm confident that they'll handle it well. And they'll do it right. The next one we had was The Marvels, November 11th, 2022. So it is no longer called Captain Marvel 2. We are getting The Marvels. So it's going to be Captain Marvel, we're going to get Miss Marvel, and we're going to get Monica Rambeau as Spectrum in the movie. And rather than just being focused on Carol, it's going to be focused on all three of them. I think we sort of knew they were going to be in it anyway, but I think it's good that they're making it maybe a bigger part of it, part of the main focus. When
we were watching Monica in WandaVision, she was heavily talking about something has changed since we last saw her with Carol, and the dynamic has completely changed. So there was no way it was not going to be touched upon in the next Captain Marvel movie, or however they were going to do it. So I'm just happy that it is going ahead in that way, and it's going to be interesting to see why. We're going to either get flashbacks or we're going to get some kind of explanation as to what's gone on. I'm looking forward to that. We also got some set photos this week in relation to that of Iman Vellani, who's playing Kamala Khan in Miss Marvel, in the full Miss Marvel suit. Have you seen these? Have you seen the costume? Yes, I've actually seen it.
It looked wow. We're gonna add like a little cheers or something to the podcast. I won't, because I don't know how. We just imagine that we've put like a little cheers and people clapping and stuff like that, because I'm not adding it. I think it was really good. I'm really we've had so far, all the costumes I think we talked about last week for Phase 4 so far have been brilliant. Like, really comic booky. Took a little bit of getting used to, I think, the fact that we're now going down really, heavy comic book inspired suits, but I really like this, and I think it's a brave decision by Marvel to be going just sticking to it. And it's probably one of the only ones. Normally, when I see set photos and you see the costumes, I look at them and I go, yeah, it looks really good, and I like the fact that it's comic booky, but I hope it looks better on screen. And they always do, to be fair. But this is the first one where I've looked at it and just thought, perfect, absolutely spot on. Even with it not being on screen. Yeah, I think it looks really. Yeah, I think all the other ones, it's like the Hawkeye costume. I like it, but I think it looked better on. I think it didn't look better because I haven't seen it yet. I think it will look better on screen, and I think the Kate Bishop costume as well. That looks good, like the purple leather jacket and stuff like that, direct from the comics. But I think it'll look better on screen. Even like when we used to look at set photos of like Endgame and stuff like that, the costumes all look a bit cheaper on them in person. And I think this is the first one where I just thought, maybe it's because of the dark photos. It's the first one where I've just thought, if it looks better on screen, great, but I really like the look of the costume.
Yeah.
Do you not like it?
It's not that I don't like it. It looks very kiddie to me. Now, she is a kid, which is absolutely fine. But what I mean is, it reminded me more of the Halloween episode of WandaVision. Do you get what I mean?
I get that. I get it.
It looked not as polished, is the best way to put it, which is fine because she is a kid, so it makes sense. But it meant that I didn't have the same reaction necessarily as you did, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. Well, hopefully you'll prefer it on screen.
Maybe.
Hopefully you'll see it on screen and go, yeah, spot on. I like that. I'm good with it. We had Ant-Man with not really much info on this one. Ant-Man confirmed for February 17th, 2023. So this is a lot. They're planning ahead, aren't they? Clearly. Yeah. We got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. We've had a new logo for it as well, which I quite like. James Gunn on Twitter has said that he is planning on this being his last Guardians movie, which is sad. I think I don't want any more Guardians if they're not going to carry on with James Gunn.
I know, and obviously there's been the talks that it's going to be Drax's final film as well.
I didn't want to talk about this.
I'm honestly devastated. Like, it hurts my heart, like dead bad. But because there was the joke going around that every time they do a Guardians of the Galaxy, the title colours have reflected who's died in that film, and it's Drax's colours this time, and I just can't. I'm not ready. Even in 2 years' time, when it comes out, I won't be ready.
If Drax goes. I think it'll be...
Nick, be prepared if we go and watch this together, which I'm assuming we probably will.
We're having tears.
I'm going to have tissues with me because I'm probably going to be upset.
I know. I'll be devastated if they kill him off. But maybe hopefully it'll be an end to his story without killing him. Yeah, that'd be nice. But I think with it, where his story's been, it's like he's lost his whole family, he's lost his wife and his daughter, and he was prepared to die in the first one. So I think he'll be like at peace, maybe if he goes. But
but the thing is, it's Drax. If they ever did something like that, he's going to be running into certain death, laughing and screaming with something, some kind of weapon in hand, and that's the last time you see him.
That's what,
and that would be the perfect way for him to go if that was the route they were going to go down. But
I hope this isn't the one we're right with.
This
isn't the one we're right.
But I'd be so upset at the same time.
I'll be devastated. The last bit that we saw the Fantastic Four logo, which we had seen before. It didn't give us a date on that. I think they were kind of using that more as Phase 4. That's the impression I got from the video. It was like sort of to wrap up Phase 4, but it is the Phase 4 logo. I don't know whether that means it's going to be the last movie of Phase 4 or whether it's going to lead into...
That's what I assumed when I looked at it.
What, that it's going to be the last movie of Phase 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. Or I said it could be the first of Phase 5, but I don't know. Either way, I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too.
Last couple of bits of Marvel news then. There have been some rumours... Oh, no. So, there have been some rumours from the Giant Freaking Robot, who we've mentioned before. They've said that Marvel is planning to bring back the characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the MCU, but they are going to be not the same actors, same characters, but not from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's going to be like a soft reboot. You know how we were talking about the Netflix characters coming back with the same actors and actresses?
But they've already confirmed that they're recasting Daisy. You know, Quake.
Have they?
Yeah.
Did I miss this?
Because it said in the news somewhere, one major character is going to be missing, or one major cast member. Oh, I can't even speak now. One major cast member is going to be missing, and it was talking about Daisy. It was talking about Quake and saying that
maybe they'll just
there's a thing to recast her.
There were rumours that what's the lady's name from Game of Thrones who's going to be in Secret Invasion?
Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke. There were rumours that Emilia Clarke was going to be Quake. Was going to be the new Quake. So I don't know how I feel about that. I didn't really watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I watched the first series, maybe the second series as well, and I got bored and I stopped watching it because it became. I know it wasn't really confirmed. It kind of has been confirmed this week, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the further we got in, the more less canon it felt to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I stopped watching it. But as I just said, talking about that being not canon, on Disney Plus, I think it's Disney Plus Brazil so far, they have moved all the ABC Disney stuff, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, and The Runaways, to the Marvel Legacy Collection on Disney Plus. And the Marvel Legacy Collection is where non-canon or non-MCU canon Marvel projects go. So all the X-Men stuff's in there, Fantastic Four stuff's in there, and now they've moved that. So people are taking that as confirmation that it's not canon anymore. And the fact that it's come out the same week as the rumours of the characters being having a soft reboot, I think that's like the final nail in the coffin, isn't it? That this isn't. I mean, there's been rumours like the different Darkhold in WandaVision and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm all right with that. I think it was Marvel trying to do what they are doing now and having the TV universe and the movie universe coexist. I just don't think they did it particularly well, and I think that what was that other show that they did which nobody watched? The Inhumans movie, not the movie, series. The TV series. I think that just killed it. I think that was like, no, you now can't, because that was kind of same universe as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was like, well, if that's not part of it, you can't have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as part of it. And even though Agent Carter was really good, nobody watched it. So I think they've had to sort of not scrap it, because I think by bringing them into the MCU, it's giving the fans, it's doing a bit of fan service that, yes, the fans who love these characters, we are bringing them back with the same actors, potentially not Daisy, but we're bringing them back with the same actors, but we're going to have a fresh start with them. So I think it's best of both worlds if they do that. I don't get why they're not including Agent Carter, though, because it didn't really... Why can't that be canon? It's not changed anything. It's not going to continue, is it? Last little bit of Marvel news then. Blade, Hollywood Reporter are saying that production has been pushed back on Blade. So it was supposed to start filming or being produced September this year. It's now been pushed back to at least July 2022. I hope this isn't one of them films that gets pushed back and doesn't happen. Yeah. Because I really want to see Mahershala Ali as Blade. I think that'd be brilliant. Yeah. Non-MCU news. So
hang on before you start with the non-MCU news. I've just while you've been talking, I wanted to double check this because I didn't want my information to be completely wrong. With the Quake situation, there was a thing on MovieWeb that came out asking if Secret Invasion are to recast one of the characters, and it said that an online source had said that Marvel is in the middle of casting a young woman of Chinese ethnicity, aged 20 to 25, for the role of Daisy Johnson, aka Quake.
Right.
But as I've been looking, there's been other news where actually Chloe Bennett, who plays her, or played her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., kind of was debunking some stuff back in February, but now there's rumours that she is joining the MCU. So it seems like it's a bit up in the air at the minute. So depending on what you've read, you're going to be hearing different things. So it's just it's just all up in the air. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify it.
No, fair play. No, good. You just done a really quick Google there, have you?
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Shows how prepared we are.
Well, once I'd said it, I felt like, oh God, what if I'm telling everybody the wrong thing now?
I better check this in case I come across as being completely wrong.
But I knew I'd read it.
No, I know. I liked it. I think she's a good Chloe Bennett. I think she's a good actress.
Do you know what? I watched all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., to be fair.
Did you?
Yeah.
All the way through?
All the way through, and I actually really enjoyed it. Now, it's funny because it's hard to say that it's not canon because Samuel L. Jackson appeared in the first series as Nick Fury.
No, I know. I remember that, yeah.
And then they identified with the whole Hydra taking over, and because they're the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they all kind of went into hiding because of the fact that that Hydra had taken over and stuff like that. Yeah. So to not be canon would have been difficult, and I think that if they do kind of, because Quake's quite an integral part of the Secret Invasion apparently in the comic books. Right. She's quite involved, so I think to keep Chloe would be good, because I mean the series is based on Coulson as well, so having him around, you know, it would just make sense for me to kind of bring it back to where the way they had it. So
yeah. No,
sorry,
I agree.
That was my
yeah. Let's see. That was your rant. Anthony's had his rant for this week.
Thank you.
No, I think hopefully we'll get some confirmations of this going forward now that we're well into Phase 4. Star Wars news then. So we had Star Wars Day this week. Did you do anything special for Star Wars Day, Anthony?
Do you know what I didn't? You know, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Neither did I, unfortunately. Would have been nice, but there's work and stuff. So Star Wars Day, we had an announcement, kind of, that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago about the real life lightsabers. Not real life. They're not. You know, you can't really go around chopping people up or anything like that. But the realistic lightsaber toys, shall we call them? So they released a 13-second video of one of them being turned on. And it was a lady dressed like Rey. And she just got the lightsaber out, and it literally came out the hilt from just being the hilt on its own, and lit up. There's Amazing. No other information as to how it works, how they've done it, what the process is going to be, but they are going to be available in the Disney parks going forward
for about £50,000.
Lots and lots of money, yes. But I'm all right with it. I really want one next time I go to. Yeah.
Make sure you remortgage before you leave.
I probably will need to. On Star Wars Day as well, we got the Bad Batch released. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to go in and say, have you watched it, Anthony? No. You could have just said yes, you know. You can just say yes. No one will know. I wouldn't know. You could just say yes. I'd have said, did you like it? And you could have gone, yeah, it was all right. And I would have been like, right, that's fine. He's watched it. Great. So I did watch it.
Honest. I haven't.
No, fine. That's what we're like on this podcast. We're honest. We don't lie. We don't tell lies. Maybe. So I did watch it. I'm not lying either. I did watch it. I thought it was quite good. It starts, the plot of it, I won't go into massive detail, but it's set and it starts just before Palpatine orders Order 66. So we start off with the clones fighting alongside the Jedi. We see a Jedi Master, and there is her Padawan, which is called Caleb Doom, but he's voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr., who plays Kanan Jarrus in Star Wars Rebels. He looks like him. He's got the same lightsaber, so I'm sure it's supposed to be Kanan Jarrus. But basically, Order 66 gets executed. All the clones turn dark, apart from this little group of clones called the Bad Batch. I don't know if they're called the Bad Batch, actually. They're called Clone Troop 99, I think they're called in it. But they're the only clones who don't really look like the rest of the clones. They all look very, very individual. And you find out later in the episode, I won't spoil anything, you find out later in the episode as to why they don't look and act like the rest of the clones. And it's basically them escaping from the clone army, escaping from Kamino. And then that's pretty much the first episode. There's more to it. There's little things that I won't spoil, but it was good so far, to be honest. I've not watched all the Star Wars animation. I think I've dipped in and out of the Clone Wars, and I've watched a little bit of Star Wars Rebels, which is why I know about Kanan Jarrus. But I don't think you need to have seen it, or all that stuff, to start with the Bad Batch. I think it'd be helpful if you've seen it, but I think as long as you've seen all the live action stuff like Mandalorian and the 9 Star Wars films, because I know some people don't like to think that there are 9, and I know some people think there's 6, but yeah, there are 9, unfortunately. Whether the last 3 are any good or not, we won't get into, because it's Star Wars Day. We've got to celebrate Star Wars. But it was quite good, and I think you'll find it entertaining. You give it a go, Anthony. And listeners, if you've not watched it,
do you know what? To be fair, I will, because I watch a hell of a lot of the Star Wars stuff. I've seen all 9 of the films. I've seen Rogue One. I've seen Han Solo. I've watched Mandalorian. All of that kind of stuff. My problem is stuff. I can't keep up with names.
Yeah, particularly Star Wars names.
Oh my god! I was like this with Game of Thrones though. If it's not Dave, Bob, and Joe, I can't remember them. It's too confusing. because
but it's all right. It's all right in Marvel with the famous Dave, Bob, and Joe in the MCU universe.
No, but it's Tony, Steve, Natasha. It's names that you hear all the time. So when it's like completely different, I really struggle. And so I just don't do very well. Like Game of Thrones, the one I was always safe with was Jon Snow.
Jon Snow, yeah. I only know Jon Snow. Yeah, I can't remember any of the others. It's like, oh, Jon Snow went to meet... Just mumbles so you can keep up with the conversation.
The amount of times I got Khaleesi wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they gave how many names did she have? Mother of Dragons, Khaleesi, Daenerys Targaryen. It's like, just pick one. Just call yourself Sharon.
Honestly, I think in our house she was the dragon lady for the first 5 episodes.
Just whatever helps you go through it, I suppose. That's it, isn't it? We have some Star Wars Day shout outs, because as I said, nobody wanted to give any theories or thoughts on Ghost Rider, so everyone seemed really interested in Star Wars Day, which is great. I think, Anthony, you've got the first shout out for Star Wars Day.
So we had a message from Keeper of the Sacred Flame, and they were spending their day watching Bad Batch. They also think that Caleb the Padawan is Kanan Jarrus. Thinks the group will end up searching for Captain Rex for help.
Okay, so Captain Rex, you probably haven't got any idea.
No.
I think Captain Rex is one of... I think he's in the Clone Wars. He's like one of the high up clone troopers.
Right, okay.
And I think he's probably... Because he was like, obviously they were all good in the Clone Wars because the clones were working for the good side. I think he's probably another one of the clones who wouldn't necessarily go along with Order 66, and he'd sort of stand against it because he wouldn't think it was right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good. Yeah, I like that. Thanks for getting in touch. Geeky Nate, who is a friend of the show, he said he was spending his day catching up on The Mandalorian. That surprised me. That with Nate, I thought he'd be well up with that.
I'm quite surprised.
I thought it'd be all over that. But yeah, great, yeah. If anyone's not watched The Mandalorian and caught up with it, it is very good.
It's fantastic.
It is good. It's probably the first. As I said, I've tried to watch Clone Wars and the animated series, and I did worry that Mandalorian was gonna not be able to hold my attention like the other ones. But it's great.
It's better than 6 of the 9 films, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably, to be fair, in my opinion as well. And I think we had one other shout out to do.
Yeah, so this is Geek Retreat in Bedford. They've got an online store that is already open. And they've got their store in Bedford. It is the one in Bedford, isn't it? That's opening in July.
It is the one in Bedford, yeah.
And so for Star Wars Day, they actually they've been running for 8 years. So they donated 8% of sales to the National Autistic Society, which is just
fantastic,
amazing.
Isn't that really good? Yeah?
I've got a niece and a nephew, both with autism that do need a lot of help in general.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting to and from school, the actual kind of needs that they have in school and stuff like that. So, any money going to societies that can help with stuff like that is just phenomenal. So thank you.
Yeah. Brilliant, yeah. Well done, guys. And if anyone's listening and they want to buy anything geeky, I think they do tabletop games, Pokemon cards, figures, all that sort of stuff. I think they do
the pop figurine things as well, don't they?
Yeah, the Funkos. Yeah. Go. We think we might be completely wrong. If you don't, start getting some in stock because people are going to want to buy them. But yeah, if you're buying anything like that, go to Geek Retreat website. We will put we'll put a link in the description. To their website, so you can go and spend your money with them. Spend your money. He says you can go spend your money with them.
I didn't know we had Sean Connery on the show.
We got was that my impression?
Our first special guest with someone amazing.
You wait till we get into Ghost Rider and the impressions start rolling. Then. Last couple of bits of news. I think we mentioned before we had a Stranger Things season 4 trailer.
Yeah.
I say trailer. It was a teaser. It
didn't really give a lot away, did it?
It didn't, but I can't wait for Stranger Things. I love Stranger Things.
Right, so I'm dead excited for it, and I was like, oh, because it was kind of focusing on 11. But I'm like an elephant. I remember, and I'm not being funny, but Hopper. Everyone seems to be forgetting about the whole Hopper thing. Was he dead?
Yeah.
Is he not? Where is he? They said there's
a
guy in the American.
We've had another teaser.
I know, but it's like it just seems to be like, forget about Hopper. It's all about 11, and I'm like, no. I want to know what's going on with 11, Hopper.
Though, isn't it? I know. Yeah, so do I, to be honest. But it is kind of. I was quite surprised that last teaser that showed Hopper in Russia, working in Russia.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised it was just focused on Hopper, because I thought it would have been I'm surprised that they sort of told us. I think we all knew he was going to be alive still, but they told us he was going to be alive that early on, and that it wasn't focused on 11, because at the end of the day, 11 is she's the main character, isn't she? So it didn't surprise me that this was about 11. I read it. Now I don't know. I think this trailer could be viewed in two ways. So it starts with a load of young kids at Hawkins' lab, doesn't it? They're playing and like doing tests, and then you only see him from the back, but it looks like Dr. Brenner going into the room, and it sounds like Matthew Modine. And he goes in and tells the kids that he's got something special planned, and then you hear 11, because it is 11, like heavy breathing, and you see the room with 11 on it, and she's kind of like listening in telepathically, isn't she?
Yeah.
And then he says, doesn't he say, 11, are you listening, or 11, can you hear me? And then that's the teaser. So is this a flashback to 11, how 11 sort of started out?
Or has she been recaught?
Maybe she's not in that room. Is Brenner still alive? Because we didn't see him. I know we saw the Demogorgon jump on him at the end of series 1.
Yeah.
But we didn't see his body or anything like that. So is he still... There were rumours at the time that he might still be alive. So is he still alive, and he's starting the programme again, and she can listen? She knows it's happening. She's listening in from somewhere else.
From miles and miles away. Oh, okay. I'm with you now.
So either way, I think that's quite good, because to see... I'd be excited if we just see more of how 11 sort of got created, but then I think it'd be brilliant if Dr. Brenner was back. I think he was a good character. Not very exciting character, but he played it really well, didn't he, Matthew Modine?
Yeah.
I think he was good. The other thing is that we've not got any dates. We still don't know when this thing's coming out. They always go around holidays, don't they? I think we've had Christmas,
Halloween, and 4th of July. I think we've had.
Yeah. So I would imagine that we're going to get this around something else. I don't know what. What will the holiday? I don't know. Can't have what? Bonfire night.
Well,
fireworks.
That's too British, isn't it? They do it.
Pancake Day. Maybe we'll get it next February and it'll be Pancake Day. I'm good with that. I'm good with it.
Do you know what? I think maybe like the start of the summer, so like the end of June. Like the kids' 6 weeks holidays.
Yeah, but it's just 4th of July, isn't it? It's just 4th of July again.
I don't know.
Pancake Day, I'm calling it now. This is the one I'm right on. It's gonna release on Pancake Day, and that's gonna be the focus. That's gonna be the focus of it. She likes her Eggos, and there's kind of like 11 eats Eggos. You could do a
crossover.
Like
open it up on St. Patrick's Day, and do it with Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun again.
Well, they're both February. Hang on, St. Patrick's Day's February, isn't it?
March.
Is it? Oh well, it can span a week. It can span a couple of weeks. I'm going Pancake Day, and St. Patrick's Day. I think we've nailed that one, haven't we? That's the news for this week. That was a long news section, but we had obviously Phase 4 Marvel to go through in detail. So let's talk about Jupiter's Legacy. You've watched this.
Yes.
I've watched this. We've both watched it this week. We won't go through. We have not had time to do the whole series last night.
No.
That was never going to happen.
No.
If you've done it as a listener, well done.
Yeah.
Well done, because you've got a longer attention span than I have.
Congratulations.
Exactly. We're very, very impressed. So what we thought we'd do is we'll go through, not do a full breakdown, but we'll just give like a bit of a review, spoiler free review of episode 1, in case to tell you whether it's going to be worth getting into. We've had a brief conversation about this already. I think we're going to have very, very different opinions of it. But before we get into the review, I'll talk through what it's about, or what we know so far, without giving too much away, and then we can sort of we'll talk about whether we want it, whether we like it or not. So it's kind of got 2 timelines running. I thought it was very similar to Lost, how there were 2 timelines running all the way through the episode. So we've got a timeline set in 1929, which is where we see Sheldon, which is Josh Duhamel, and Walter, his brother, which is Ben Daniels. They're running their dad's steel business, and it's kind of just seeing what's going on with them running that business, and sort of establishing them as characters a little bit. So Sheldon, Josh Duhamel, is like a really nice guy, and his brother is kind of... It seems like a nice fella, but he's really, really focused on business, and he kind of seems a bit cutthroat. And then the other timeline is present day, I think. And they're now superheroes. So Sheldon is I kept wanting to call him the Union. He's the Utopian, is he?
The Utopian,
and then his brother is Brainwave, and then Sheldon's wife's in it as well, which is played by Leslie Bibb. Yeah, Lady Liberty. Leslie Bibb from Iron Man 1 and 2. So she's quite good in it, and they basically run. It's another version of the Justice League, isn't it? Called the Union.
Yeah.
They've got kids. They've got Brandon and Chloe, and they're both trying to live up to their parents' image. Brandon's really into it and trying to prove himself. Chloe doesn't really want to get
breakaway
involved,
child.
really.
Yeah.
She's she's comes across as the problem child in the first episode, shall we say? And the sort of idea of it is that Sheldon has got this code, hasn't he? He's very much like Superman and Batman. He doesn't want to kill anyone, and he wants to just fight like bank robbers and stuff like that. And the rest of the team, particularly his brother, are trying to convey like, that's not the world we live in anymore.
Yeah.
It's not, the bad things in the world are like dodgy politicians, and you're not necessarily going to be able to crack on with, you can't kill anyone anymore, so you need to sort of change your ways. But he's the leader, Utopian Josh Duhamel, and he doesn't want to take his team down like a dark path, I suppose. I thought the episode, it didn't really grab me. I thought it was all right. I thought, in my opinion, it started off quite well. It really interested me at start, and then the further I went into the episode, I kind of lost interest. And I won't spoil anything, but it was only for me in like the last 10 seconds of the episode that maybe thought, yeah, I'll watch the next one. But it wasn't like I need to watch the next one now. It was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. The next one. You had a different opinion than me though, didn't you?
Yeah. So so initially when we first started watching it, like the first kind of 20 minutes, it kind of gave me a live action vibe of Invincible, with the dynamic of the family.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh, okay, let's see how this goes. You could see straight away it's quite low budget, especially being live action. Something like that is going to have CGI and it's going to be costly and things like that, so you've kind of got to take it with a pinch of salt. But I actually really enjoyed the storyline to it, and I was quite hooked after about halfway through, to be honest. If I'm totally honest, after we finished recording, I'm going straight back to it because I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit different. Again, it's the superhero thing, and there's an argument that you can only do the superhero thing so many times before it gets old hat. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I'm actually quite enjoying it. It's a different twist. It's very much I like the family orientation of it as well. So and it has left me with a number of questions already just off the first episode. So I'm quite excited. It's
got you really intrigued for the next episode. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the problems I had with it was budget, like you just said.
Yeah.
At the start, the costumes I thought were really good.
Well, I think
I mean they're very different to anything we've seen in superhero movies.
Yeah, I think they've sacrificed having bigger names in it in order to put more money towards the CGI. Yeah,
potentially. When we saw a lot go, I won't spoil anything. When we saw a lot going on into the episode and quite a few costumes, it took me out of it.
Did it?
Because of how it looked.
Well, do you know what?
Sort of like, oh, this is a bit.
It took me a little bit out of it because in that scene, it's a fight scene basically. Without spoiling anything, it's a fight scene. You know it's going to happen because it's a superhero show.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The first superhero to fly in and land.
Yeah.
It was very much a wire pose, and you could see it.
It was.
You couldn't see the wire, but you could see that it was not shaky.
Every time anybody.
But it was they've not really done it before. There's been no training behind it, or not as good a level of training as you see in things like the Marvel films and stuff like that.
WandaVision, look at when Agatha's flying around in WandaVision. Yeah, it doesn't look like. I mean, they're on wires.
It's flawless,
but it doesn't look glaringly obvious. Yeah. It's done really well.
Again, I think that's down to budget and what they had and how they could utilize it. But that I understand what you've said. It took me out of it a little bit. However, it didn't pull away from the story enough for me to go, oh no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
for me, the flight bits, particularly in that scene, it was like the heroes who were doing it, because there's multiple heroes flying around.
Yeah.
It was like the heroes that were doing it were basically just stood on the floor doing a flying pose, and then they just cut them out and then copied and pasted them and dragged them across the screen. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to me. So I wasn't. I said I'll give it a go. I'll carry on with it. It's gonna for the podcast. I'll probably end up having to watch the whole thing because I'm sure we'll touch on it to a degree next week. But I think if I wasn't doing this, I would watch the next episode because there's a little bit of a cliffhanger to a degree at the end. But I think the next episode would have to do a lot to hook me for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
But I'll watch them. There's not that many episodes. I think there's 8 episodes, but they're only like
35 to 40 minutes long. Yeah.
35 to 40 minutes, something like that. So yeah, I'll give it a go. But I wasn't sold. Let's put it that way. So Ghost Rider review, kind of breakdown and review. We're looking forward to this one. Clearly there will be, I was going to say there'll be spoilers all the way through, but Nicolas Cage spoiled it when he starred in it, so we're not going to spoil it any more than Nic Cage did.
Oh my god,
it was rough, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but funny the first time I watched it, and then the second time it was just hard
I couldn't even bring
work.
myself to laugh at it. Like,
really?
No, honestly, I was
killing myself all the way through.
Right, first of all, when he's the ghost, and I know we'll do like a proper review, but just the look. Yeah. So when he's the Ghost Rider, why do his shoulders go out about 15 inches?
I don't know. It looks weird, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it looks
his
like
head looks too small for his shoulders, but in fact, it's his shoulders that look 25 times too big.
Yeah.
It's like they put, like the American football padding, the shoulder padding that they have. Yeah. It's like they put that underneath the jacket, and it just makes him look ridiculous. Sorry, that just visually.
No, I thought the CGI, even the CGI on the skull looked really bad. It's like that does not look like a human skull. It just, I mean, not that I see them on a regular basis, but it just looked wrong. Do you get what I mean? It looked like too long.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean, like squashed. But yeah, it wasn't great. When did you? Before we go into it, let's talk a bit about it first.
Okay.
So, I last watched this on a plane in 2007, I think. So I've not seen it since, but I didn't have particularly good memories of the film. I think I can remember it just being a bit crap and a bit cheesy. Nowhere near what it is, because when I watched it, I thought, wow, I can't believe this was actually put out. But I wonder whether it was because at the time it didn't seem that much cheesier than the likes of like the Raimi Spider-Mans and maybe the first couple of X-Men. It was cheesier and it was obviously a much worse film, but I don't think from them it was much more tongue-in-cheek. But I wonder whether it's because now we're used to like dead serious MCU films that this just seems a lot crap, basically. Yeah. You've watched it before, haven't you? Well, this isn't the first time you've seen it.
Let me set the scene. The first time I watched it, I was in Morton, and we went to Discount Video, where you get your 2 DVDs for £2.50. For what was it? One night or two? One, wasn't it? I think. And I went
back in the day.
Went to my stepdad's, and we sat down and we watched Ghost Rider, and then my stepdad went, "Oh, we wasted £1.25 on this piece of shit."
Did he go and ask for a refund?
No, but basically we sat there and watched it, and we went, "What was that? What was that?"
It wasn't great, was it? So it's got obviously Nic Cage, the legend that is Nic Cage, as Johnny Blaze. Eva Mendes is in it as his love interest Roxanne, who we'll talk about it because there's certain scenes that I thought were abysmal, but I don't think she's a bad actress normally. But in this, it was just like, I mean, talk about phoning it in. Do you know what I mean? It was just not good. I had a look, and it was directed by a guy called Mark Steven Johnson, who hasn't really done much for years, but he wrote and directed Daredevil with Ben Affleck, and he wrote the screenplay for Elektra. So it
tells you a lot, then, doesn't it?
It tells you a lot about the movie. So yeah, let's do
Reckon he's blacklisted with the MCU.
Oh yeah, I don't want him in the MCU. I'd never want this guy to do anything in the MCU ever.
Do you reckon he's outside cast parties and stuff trying to get invited, and everyone's like,
"Please let me in."
Kevin's there, like, tell him to fuck off.
Close the blinds and turn the lights off. Pretend we're not here. He'll go away.
Stop it! Turn the ice machine off.
It just reminds me of Shaun of the Dead when Ed turns the pinball machine on and all the lights go off. It's like, no, he'll know we're in here.
Yeah.
So we'll break it down. We won't go into as much detail as we have with because it's about 2 hours nearly.
So I did notice this time, because obviously back in the day. I didn't know who it was, but I don't know how to pronounce his name, so anxiety starts again.
Yeah, go on.
Donald Logue. Is that?
Yeah, Donald Logue. Yeah, yeah, from
Gotham.
From Gotham. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
in it, yeah.
I saw
He's
him
one
and I
of
was
the better
like,
parts
oh,
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the character, but I didn't know it was him.
And I love
he plays Mac.
Sam Elliott as well. To be fair.
Do you? Yeah, I've got a lot to say about Sam Elliott.
Have you?
In this.
I just really like his voice. He's one of them where
That's what I've got a lot to say about.
I would like for him to do some like audible book readings or something, so I can listen to it as I go to sleep. No, not ASMR. That's a bit kinkier. No thanks.
I've just got I say visions, but it's not visions because I can't see it. I can just hear it. I've just got visions of like Sam Elliott just sitting there like doing ASMR of like eating cereal and just going
Right,
mate, that would sell.
Just got too
that
weird.
would sell. That would sell. Just him going about his day going yeah.
I don't
Reading
think
a book.
he's making the noise. I think it's like trapped bits of noise in his big moustache that just escape.
Yeah, it's a big mustache, isn't he? Was he famous that when he did this though? Because I know he didn't he do A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga? Was he in that?
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I think he's Fingy's brother, isn't he?
Then I've not seen it. I thought I thought you'd have seen it because it's your sort of musicals and
I have
stuff.
seen it.
So
I think.
Is he in it?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of films that I've seen, and I have to remember.
People are sitting here thinking, "Fucking start talking about Ghost Rider."
Yeah, I know. Sorry, but I think he's Fingy's brother in Star Is Born. But I like it
That's
anyway.
Right. No one came here for Ghost Rider. They've all turned off by now. If anyone's still listening, this is like, I'll be surprised. Anyway, Ghost Rider. So we'll do it, because no one is listening, we'll do it quick. So we won't go into massive detail. We'll go through the general story and then we'll pick out the ridiculous parts. And there's a lot of them, so it probably will take a long time. And this sounds like, I say we're not going into it in detail. And the very first thing I'm going to talk about is the Marvel logo at the start, just because it was bad. It lulled me into a false sense of security when it started. Not the current MCU logo, but we used to get like the comic books and the page flickering across the Marvel logo, and I thought, oh, I've got it's Marvel. Kind of forgot it was Marvel, and then it just turns into some big cheesy, cheap looking CGI monstrosity with spikes and fire coming out of it, and I just thought, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be a good film. This has just ruined the MCU, the Marvel logo from the start. So it starts with a bit of backstory. So it gets narrated, doesn't it? It's Sam Elliott, I think, doing the narration at the start. Yeah. So he tells us that Mephistopheles, we'll call him Mephisto because I'm not saying that again. Mephisto's in it. We've got Mephisto, Mephisto. Or not MCU, but Mephisto. So he sends his Ghost Rider, who is like, there's a different one every generation, and it's basically the devil's bounty hunter. He sends him to go and get this thing called the Contract of San Veganza. I've watched this twice, and I had to check Wikipedia to get what this was about because I did not grasp what this whole contract was about. Did you, or was it a bit vague?
It was a bit vague, if I'm honest.
It was a bit vague, wasn't it? So according to Wikipedia, it gives whoever's got the contract will get control of thousands of bad souls, and then they'll be able to bring about hell on earth. So that's what it was. I didn't get that. I had to read it. So he sends his Ghost Riders to go and steal it, but he doesn't want to. Sends the Ghost Rider to go and get it, but because the Ghost Rider doesn't want it to happen and he doesn't want hell on earth, he's the first person who's ever outrun the devil, and he stops it and disappears. We then very quickly jump to 1986, and we see young Johnny Blaze and his dad, and they're basically like a stunt team. We see a young Roxy, which is Eva Mendes' character as well, and she's his girlfriend at the time. It's all his dad. So they're a stunt team. His dad's got lung cancer, and he finds out. Johnny finds out his dad's got lung cancer, and then Mephisto shows up, and he offers him a bargain. He basically says, in exchange for your soul, I'll cure your dad, and I'll make your dad better again, and he'll be all healthy. And then he wakes up the next morning, and his dad's absolutely fine. He's like, bouncing around, feels great, and all that sort of stuff. And then he does a stunt show. Mephisto shows up, and he dies. And so basically Mephisto just kills him so that he can get Johnny's soul straight away. He doesn't take it though, does he? He just sort of says, I've done my part, and you're mine now, and I'll call on you when I need you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And this is one of the first bits, apart from the Marvel logo at the start. This was one of the first bits that sort of took me straight out of it, and I had to laugh at when Mephisto, after he's killed his dad, shows up. He does this like really weird stance and point, and we see this all the way through the film, don't we?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like an Elvis kind of stance. I'm doing it now. This is bad because no one can see me because it's a podcast.
When he says innocent or guilty.
Yeah, all the way through the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just he does like a really weird stance, and it just took me straight out of it. To be fair, the kid who's playing Johnny Blaze is a better actor than Nic Cage all the way through the film, to be honest. Have you ever watched Manifest?
No.
That series, Manifest. He's in the guy who plays the kids in that. He plays Zeke in Manifest. If anyone's watched that, it's a good series. We digress, as we normally do. So we jump to 2007, and we see that Johnny Blaze is now like a big famous stunt rider, and we see him basically doing this big jump. Again, things that took it out of me. Took me out of it. When he to light the fire, he kind of like there's loads of actions in this one. People, you're missing this. We need to start doing video podcast. He like throws both his hands forward, like does a really weird look, and all the fire goes out. Did you notice that bit? And I was just like, it's cheesy as anything.
Yeah.
And then there was Crazy Train playing over the top of it, which I thought was very ironic because Nic Cage is like the craziest person ever. So he does this jump and he crashes, and it's a really nasty crash, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's okay. So I took that as to mean because the devil owns his soul, he can't die.
Yeah.
Because the devil wants him. So he's kind of like indestructible at this stage, isn't he?
Yeah.
We then see him on he's on a tour bus with his friend Mark, who's Donald Logue, we just said, and they're planning this massive jump, and he's trying to talk Johnny out of doing it, but obviously Johnny knows he can't die, but Donald Logue doesn't. And again, this is another bit that took me out of it, because we keep revisiting this. He's obsessed with monkeys, isn't he? Johnny Blaze. He keeps wanting to watch the monkeys on the telly, and he wants to watch this special, like a Discovery Channel special of Howler monkeys. And I just got visions of Nic Cage just sitting and watching the telly. Howling with the monkeys, yeah? Did you? It's just, as soon as it came to my head, just the monkeys going, oh, 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 and Nic Cage just going, oh, 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 oh. And that's his evening. That's just what I thought. I just got visions of it. That was it. But that's just all I thought of. That's all I thought of. Yeah. And I just thought that I just can see that was one of the things that Nic Cage wanted in it, because Nic Cage does love just to watch videos of monkeys, and he just that's a Saturday evening for Nic Cage. He goes home, he gets a drink, sits in front of the telly, and then just howls at the monkeys on the telly. So after that really weird little segment of the podcast and the film, we meet Blackheart, who he's Mephisto's son. And this probably had me laughing more than anything in the whole film, because he just shows up. I mean, there's a lot of points where I was laughing through the film. He just shows up and he's just standing in the rain, and then randomly, as the camera gets closer to him, he kind of just turns into this like monster blue face and just like growls at the camera. And I was sat watching this on my own because nobody else in the house wanted to watch Ghost Rider. And I was just crying, laughing on the sofa, because it was like, why? Just so random, out of nowhere. Not like in this, because it wasn't good enough CGI to be scary in any way or make you jump. But it was just like, why are we having this guy just randomly
was it just
barking at the camera?
I saw it as being spoon-fed that he's a bad guy, in like the most slapsticky, melodramatic villain. If he had a moustache, would twiddle it kind of way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I sent you a picture as well, because and you've never seen this, but if anybody ever watched the Big Bad Beetleborgs back in like the 90s, it was you're laughing already, because he does like that picture, doesn't he? There's basically their version of Zordon was a ghost called Flabber, and it just looks like this guy. He was basically a big blue ghost with like a massive chin and an Elvis haircut, and it just, as soon as I saw this guy, particularly when he went blue with like the teeth and stuff like that, I just thought it's Flabber, and I had to text you straight away. I was like, "Have you ever seen Big Bad Beetleborg?"
I was like, "Nah, I'm too young."
Nah, too young to that. Shut up, I'm not old. So then we go back to Johnny Blaze at home, and he's drinking Skittles. He drinks glasses of Skittles because he doesn't want to drink, because it gives him nightmares. So he just drinks. He just gets opens the fridge and just jars of Skittles, and he pours them all in. And then we get back to more monkeys on the TV, because he's watching monkeys doing karate on the TV. So he's watching
howling monkeys doing karate while drinking Skittles.
That is just a normal Saturday night for Nic Cage. I'm telling you now, and probably a Monday.
He wasn't even
Tuesday,
acting.
Wednesday, Thursday,
they were
Friday
filming
night.
him at his own home.
was. But you know what? Do you know how I know he was acting? Because it was the worst acting I've ever seen.
Honestly.
Ever. The laugh. It's kind of like he's talking to Donald Logan, then he looks at the telly and goes, ha 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 ha, and then like looks back at Donald Logan and goes, ha 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 ha, and that's it. That's not me taking the piss. That's what he was doing. Ha 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 ha. It was awful.
It was really bad.
And again,
I
was already taken out of it.
I don't understand how he's such a big name. I just don't.
Because he used to be good.
But I don't understand how you'd get bad. Like,
because he's phoning it in and he doesn't care. So this is speculation. And we almost talked about this before, but I thought we'd save it for the podcast. Apparently, he obviously he was a massive star. He's related to the Coppola. He's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew, isn't he? So he's a big star. Comes from a big wealthy family. But the rumors are that he, in like the in the 90s, when he was like a big name, and he did, to be fair, in my opinion, pretty good movies, but he was all right in them. Like Con Air, I really enjoyed Con Air, and The Rock I thought was a really good film. People are going to be like, you enjoyed Con Air? Are you serious? I like Con Air, it's good. Shut up. I can hear you listeners going, Con Air, seriously? Yeah, well, shut up, I like Con Air. But apparently he just blitzed through all his money and ran out of money. So he had, he's like a massive Superman fan, isn't he? Because he nearly played Superman in the 90s in Tim Burton's Superman movie.
Thank fuck he didn't.
Oh no, I think that would have been good. We're gonna have to do an episode on that at some point, because there's a documentary out, that they did a few years ago, about the death of Superman Lives. So I've seen some of the screen tests for it, and he looks all right. To be fair, it's very different, but he looks all right. But anyway, he's a massive Superman fan. He called his kid Kal-El. I think his kid's name's Kal-El, and he had like an original print of the first Superman comic, and he had to sell it because he's that low on money. Wow. But apparently there is a point to this. He will do any film. Literally, they give him if you offer Nic Cage a film, he doesn't care what it is, he'll do it because he's that desperate for money. The rumor is, sorry if Nic Cage, if he's still a multi-billionaire, but
I love how you're apologising like Nick is one of our avid listeners.
Mate, he's weird. He probably would. He probably scours the internet for shitty little podcasts. Like,
they're going to talk about me.
Watch that. I'll watch that. Yeah, I like that. Sorry, Nick. Yeah. So apparently he'll just do anything, and that's why he doesn't care, and he phones it in. There's what I was going to say to you before, but I thought I'd leave it for the podcast. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a computer game called Five Nights at Freddy's. If you've not seen it, Google it. There's loads of it on YouTube. And they've kind of done, not a movie version, but sort of like a parody of it. And he's like the hero in the film.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, I've not seen it, but he doesn't say a single word through the whole film. He's silent for the whole film.
Wow.
That's how much he can't be arsed. So he's gone from phoning it in and doing a fake laugh, going ha 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 ha, to just I'm not talking. I'll be on your film, but I'm too tired. I'm not going to say a single word, and he doesn't say a word for the whole film. Anyway, that's where we've got to with Nic Cage. So we had the weird laugh. We've seen Blackheart show up, and then with the bad laughing and stuff, and then we go back to Blackheart, and he goes to this bar. And he kills everyone in this bar. He's got this power. He just touches them, doesn't he? And they kind of like turn blacky blue. And
it's like all their blood is drained or something, isn't it? In a way.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they just become become
pruned.
Yeah, well, they do look like prunes. To be fair, it just looks like he just turns him into like a decomposed body straight away, like a dried out, decomposed body, doesn't he? And then he's in there, and this is where we meet, in my opinion, my favorite character in the film. There's three of them. They're called the Hidden, and they're angels that have been banished from heaven, and they've all got like a different element. So there's an Earth angel, not from the Back to the Future song, not that Earth angel, a different Earth angel. There's an Earth angel, there's a water angel, and there's an air angel. Now I did read Wikipedia, and I did look at the names. I can't remember them. I'll be honest. They weren't that important.
They were that forgettable.
But they were that. Well, they weren't, because the air one. He's got like a fake wig dreadlocks on his head and he looks crap, and then he's got these teeth that are clearly too big for his mouth, and he talks like this for the whole film. And you can't understand a word he's saying because he's got these big fake teeth in his mouth. And every time he came on the screen, I was just like, this is brilliant. He's my favorite. I don't know who he is, I don't know who the actor is or the name of the character, but he was my favorite. I loved him. And he dies later on, spoilers. So we go back, but he was brilliant. It was just so shit, wasn't it? I mean, the whole way that they were introduced, the CG was appalling, and they looked crap. Particularly the water one, who even after he turns back into a human form is constantly wet. Do you know which one I mean?
Yeah.
He's just always dripping wet. It's like, but the other one's not constantly got dust on him, and the air one's not constantly got air floating around him. But the water one just can't like complete the transformation. He's constantly dripping wet.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Not really, no. So we go back to Johnny doing his big jump, and he gets interviewed by Roxanne. It's the first time he's seen her. He's acting really weird, listening to like the Carpenters and staring at himself in the mirror. I think they just recorded Nic Cage.
Oh my god, when he did that mirror scene where he's like going at himself, I was like,
what later on after when he's trying to transform again, he's doing like the meme where he puts his nose up and goes like that, doesn't he, and starts like slapping his teeth together. Yeah. That's it, yeah. Oh, it's so weird. But this was a different mirror scene, because there's multiple mirror scenes in Ghost Rider, don't you know? So it's just
like
him staring in the mirror.
He tried to create his own Robert De Niro. Are you talking to me?
It is, isn't it?
But it just went to shit.
Just silent, because that's what he's into. He's now just just sitting silently, which is why he does silent movies. So he has an interview with Roxanne, and you know, this is the point, because it gets worse as it goes through, but her acting in that interview, Eva Mendes, I'll caveat this, I think she's quite a good actress. You know, she's not like, I don't think she's ever like won an Oscar or anything like that, but things I've seen her in she's pretty good in them. Yeah. She did a film with Ryan Gosling, and she was all right in that, to be fair.
Yeah.
And even like her acting in like the Fast and the Furious movies, I think she's been 2, hasn't she? She's good, and everything I've seen her in, she's all right. But this was crap. This was like she was proper phoning it in, like Nic Cage. And that interview, I just thought, is this supposed to be a real, genuinely serious film? And that it was her interview of Johnny Blaze that I just thought, this must be like a parody, because it's not good. It's really bad. And then it gets worse when she leaves and he does the jump and he chases the van. Doesn't he? He chases the van, and there's this like weird thing, and like it was like when he like, she thinks he's gonna crash, and she like puts her hands to her mouth and goes and like starts covering her eyes and all this sort of stuff, and it's just so like over dramatic. But it's like, rather than phoning it in, it was really cheesy. It was like she was acting like a kids movie, and you know, probably to a degree she probably thought it was a kids movie because she saw the CGI skull, but it was not good. So that she eventually agrees to go on a date with him. Why? Because he's the weirdest guy on the planet. But she agrees to go on a date with him.
She was like, howler monkeys? Ooh.
Howler monkeys and karate monkeys and Skittles. Oh, you've got me sold. So Mephisto shows up. Well, she goes for a date. Johnny's getting ready to go for the date, and Mephisto shows up, and he says that, you know, I need you to act now. I need to, you know, get you to turn into the, you know, to do the job for me. And if you go and find Blackheart, I'll give you your soul back. And that's when he does that stupid point at Mephisto again, which again was worse than the kid from Manifest doing it at the start of the film. It was really bad. It was really cheesy. And then he transforms, so he turns into it, and I don't get the transformation. He's like screaming at first because his head's going on fire, but then he just starts like laughing, and it's like, why are you laughing? Is he supposed to be so painful he's like gone into shock and he's laughing? But it was really weird.
Yeah.
Not that it's the, you know, it's not by far not the weirdest thing in the film, but it took that's going to be my common phrase all the way through this. It took me out of it, because there's a lot of things that took me out of this film.
I was taken out of it from the fact that for the first time ever,
from the Marvel logo at the start,
fire seemed to trump water.
Oh, later on in the film. Yeah, it was weird.
I was like, that never happened. Well, so why?
And why? Because he goes after that. He goes racing off, doesn't he? He turns into Ghost Rider, and the Ghost Rider takes over. Yeah. I get the impression that when Ghost Rider takes over, it's not Johnny Blaze anymore. It's a demon that takes over or takes control, because he just sort of goes straight from. That's kind of how I see it.
That it's a demon taking over.
What is that?
Yeah.
It's a demon taking over. Yeah, I saw it there. And when he like drives off, there's like this cop, you know, because cheesy comic book part, you know, comic book movie. There's a cop trying to get him with his radar gun, and he's doing like 200 miles an hour, and the billboard as he drives past like blows up, and it's like, why is the billboard caught fire and blown up? Again, just sat there thinking, why has that happened?
Well, see, this is the thing. So, I mean, I'm not one to advocate for this film, but I saw it as, because he is kind of undead, like, because it's a demon. And he's from hell. It's like the intense heat that comes off him as he drives off with speed and stuff like that means that the things around him start to overheat as well. So you get the kind of the explosions, the lights bursting, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of get what I think the director was thinking as he did it.
But you think he was thinking?
Wow.
You think he was thinking throughout this film?
I mean, it didn't have any real good superhero films or anti-hero films to go off, did he, at the time? Go back to 2007. What did we have, really?
We had Spider-Man. We had the Raimi Spider-Man films and the X-Men films. I think to me, he was trying to copy, like, Spider-Man. He was trying to copy, because they were a bit cheesy, weren't they? I mean, they were good. I really enjoyed those films, but they were a little bit cheesy, and they had, like, tongue-in-cheek moments, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I think he was trying to push off that.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably done Daredevil, and he thought this was a bit dark, because it was still crap, but it was a bit. It was quite a dark film, wasn't it? The first Daredevil film, and he's probably thought, I need to go more lighthearted now. I mean, who gave him a job after Daredevil? I don't know. He must have. He got something on someone, clearly. That sounds really mean, but yeah. Anyway, so he goes and fights. He goes and fights Blackheart. He kills one of the angels. He kills the Earth Angel, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then he goes and comes across some guy mugging a girl. You got on to who the girl was, didn't you?
No. Oh, Rebel Wilson. Yeah. Do you know what? I saw that and I was like, is it her?
I had off the first appearance, I had to check IMDb really quick while I was watching it.
It was like,
it looks like her, but
yeah, and I was like that, and I was like, it's like Rebel Wilson, but and I didn't think it was her, but she just gave me Melissa McCarthy vibes because of the stupid hair that she tends to wear in her films and stuff like that, and I was like,
yeah,
so is it? And then normally, I've never heard Rebel Wilson not use her own accent.
Yes.
So when I heard the American accent, it threw me.
Because it was crap.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't
very good.
It wasn't that it was crap, but it was a bit pointless, is what I thought.
She could have just been American. She could have just been Australian, couldn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, she's Australian in every other film that she does.
Yeah.
I think apart from, isn't she British in Bridesmaids?
In Bridesmaids.
I don't know why we're talking. People are listening, going, "Why are you talking about Bridesmaids?" Anyway. Are we going to cut that out? No, we're not. We're talking about Bridesmaids. Anyway, so he kills this guy who's robbing it, and he does this thing called penance stare, I think Blackheart calls it. So he draws up memories of every bad thing they've ever done, and it kills them because they're that sad. I don't know.
Okay, no, I thought he was feeling the pain of all the people that he's hurt at once.
That sounds better. Let's go with that. Yeah, he feels the pain of everybody at once. Yeah, I'm going to edit my bit out. I think what it is he feels the pain of every...
Don't you dare.
So we go to the next day. So he's Ghost Rider's just driving around like a lunatic, and the sun comes up and he sort of powers down, doesn't he? And that's when we meet Sam Elliott. That's when we meet Sam Elliott's character in it. So even though he's been doing the narrating, he doesn't sound like he does doing the narrating. So he seems to know about Ghost Rider, which kind of made it obvious to me straight away that he was a Ghost Rider. Because spoilers for the rest later on in the film, he's a Ghost Rider. I mean, I didn't remember him being one, but I just thought, why would he know what? The only way he'd know about all this is if he was one, and he looks like an old time cowboy, doesn't he? I didn't get at the time. So the things I thought about Sam Elliott's character are: why is there a gravedigger in 2007? Surely no one in 2007 dug graves by hand. Because he's just walking around this little old graveyard with a spade, and we get why he's carrying the spade around. But straight away, I was like, surely that's sketchy. Because you'd use a digger, wouldn't you? But anyway, straight away, I didn't like that. I also, because he's constantly chewing tobacco, couldn't understand the frigging word he said.
So there's a scene with that, right? You know when he's coming out of the Ghost Rider thing for the first time, and he's in pain again.
What?
And he crawls right to his dad's grave. Nic Cage.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that then?
Yeah, I think so. So,
yeah.
First of all, that acting was fucking awful. And I'm sorry to drop the F-bomb, but it was that bad. It was horrendous.
I said friggin' before, but yeah, you just lower the tone of the podcast.
I'm okay with it.
That's fine.
So...
That's fine.
But
it's necessary.
Honestly, it was bad. Like,
it wasn't
that
great,
was
it?
I mean, I've done a degree in theatre, and I know theatre is not the same as film acting, But kind of rule 101, don't do that. Don't do what he did.
No.
That was...
What, the straining
it was
and all that sort of stuff. The
oh
overacting.
my God, it was so bad. And then I was like, oh, just getting over how bad that was and making me cringe. And then he spat that tobacco out as the camera turned around, and I was just like, ugh. I was like,
but I couldn't understand anything he was like saying throughout the whole time he was chewing tobacco. I got like the first word of every sentence. He was like, go on.
No, I was just gonna say there's a series that I watched called Cougar Town with Courtney Cox in, and there's kind of a guy who's got quite a redneck accent, and one of the women literally turns around to him and says, "I can't hurt be dear, you frazzle dazzle," when she says that she can't understand him. And that is all I could think of when he was talking.
I'm not seeing that, but I couldn't get any of it. It's like he'd start talking, I don't know what he'd say, like he'd say like, so there was this ghost rider, and I was like, I'm not getting any of this. I can't understand.
By the tash.
And it was just it is.
So, you know, if Mephisto comes into the MCU, just because he's involved in this, so I just wanted to mention it. Do you know who I really want to see play him?
Who?
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
I think
like because he's the devil in Constantine, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was John Abruzzi or whatever his name was in Prison Break. I just think he plays the villain dead well.
How have we got from Sam Elliott to Sam Elliott, that mumbling to Peter Stormare? I like it. It's good
because I haven't stopped thinking about it because I just think he'd be a dead good.
He would.
Since you said Mephisto the first time.
Who played him in this? Peter Fonda. He's like a famous He's a famous older actor, isn't he? I don't think he's probably not done anything since this. It's like Sean Connery.
Is he related to Jane?
I don't know. I would guess so. So. If anyone's still listening, let us know on Twitter. all three
if you haven't died of boredom.
I know, yeah. I'm talking about Ghost Rider again. So anyway, Johnny Blaze, he heads home after he's had a little talk, or not pretended to be understanding what Sam Elliott's saying to him. He's just sitting there nodding, going, I've got any idea what you're saying. Oh, okay, yeah. So he goes home, and basically where he lives, the whole road's been all wrecked, and Eva Mendes's character is interviewing Rebel Wilson, and she's doing her awful US accent. He tells her at that point, doesn't he, what's going on? He says, I'm the Ghost Rider, and she's not having any of it, and she doesn't believe him. And then that's when we see this scene of him like doing his nose in the mirror and stuff like that. And he's trying to practice. He's like learns in like 2 seconds how to use his fire powers without being the Ghost Rider. Or doesn't he just say,
honestly,
he goes, "Spirit within me,
surprised.
Give me control"? And then he look at all of a sudden like light flames with his hands and stuff. It's ridiculous.
I was surprised there wasn't a shit montage.
Yeah, that would have made this movie so much better. Just like an 80s montage. That would have been it. That would have been brilliant. Yeah, I want one. I'm gonna make one. Somebody make one. I bet there's one on YouTube of like an 80s montage of him. So he does this nose meme in the mirror, and I thought when we see this whole mirror scene, I was quite surprised at first at how like ripped Nicolas Cage was in the mirror, but at the same time, even his ripped body looks weird. Was it just me?
This was the thing. I thought it looked weird, so it made me think: is it CGI a little bit?
Yeah, I thought that.
I thought, have they enhanced what may already be there, but have made it look more defined?
Because it looked very CG.
Yeah, it didn't look right, did it?
No.
I thought that.
And I also thought, there's no way just drinking Skittles gets your body like that. Because if it does, I'll go in the shop. I'm going to go to the shop and I'm going to get loads of Skittles.
I'm going to taste that rainbow.
You are going to taste that rainbow. Yeah, it just didn't seem right to me. Again, it just took me out of it. It took me out. I mean, normally there's a scene like that in every superhero movie, isn't it? Like, Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy and even the first Spider-Man film. But it just looked weird. It just looked so strange. So he ends up getting arrested, doesn't he? And he breaks out. He robs some guy's jacket in prison, and then he goes and kills the Air Angel, my favourite character with the teeth where he can't talk. Do you know what? No one in this, I could hardly understand a word that came out of anyone's mouth in this movie. You got Sam Elliott, and then you got the Air Angel talking like this with his teeth through the mouth.
And then you got Nic Cage talking like this.
You got Nick Cage just phoning it in. So he kills the Earth Angel. I don't really get how he like spins his chain round, something like that.
Yeah.
And he disappears. Roxanne, Eva Mendes' character, is there, and Blackheart sees her, and you instantly just know he's going after her. And then very conveniently,
love interest.
That's it. And then very conveniently, Johnny Blaze goes to see the caretaker again, Sam Elliott's character, and the very first thing he says is, "Oh, by the way, don't let Blackheart know who you're in love with, because he'll go after them." And it's like, surely the viewer didn't need that extra 10 seconds of dialogue to let us know what Blackheart's doing, because it was clearly obvious. He might as well have been sat there looking at Eva Mendes with his little twiddly mustache, rubbing his hands together, because it's like, we know what he's doing. You don't need to explain it. And also, as well as stating the obvious, Sam Elliott's character also tells him about the contract of Sam Venton, blah 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 blah, or whatever it's called, and he tells him about Carter Slade. I can't remember what it's called. I wrote it down, but I can't be bothered scrolling back up. He tells him about Carter Slade, who was the Ghost Rider who robbed the contract of Sam Verifari, or whatever it's called, Safari Park. So Roxy goes to Johnny's house, and Mac is there. Donald Logue is there, and he pops up. I don't know what he's doing. He's like robbing him or something. Probably thought I'm going. I can't be arsed with Johnny Blaze and watching monkeys on the telly all the time, so I'm going to go and rob all his skills and leave. Oh, I made myself laugh then. Oh, sorry. And then we get the worst death in the whole film. We get Blackheart shows up, and he's like behind Mac. And he like must grab him behind and do that thing. And it's like we said about just Jupiter's Legacy, with like the 2D just being dragged across the screen. It's like they just like pause the video there, don't do any like 3D animation, and they just kind of like shrink Donald Logue's body in and then just drag it down the screen really quickly, because it doesn't move. It just like the still body just drags down the screen. And again, it was another moment I was just killing myself laughing. And then Johnny shows up. He has a fight with Blackheart. He tries to do that penance stare, but Blackheart sets up the end of the film and goes, "Oh no, you can't do a penance stare on me because I haven't got a soul." And then he says he kidnaps Eva Mendes and says, "Bring the contract to me, or you work for me now." He says, "You work for me now. Bring me the contract, or I'll kill her." So Johnny runs off to Sam Elliott's character, and he breaks Sam Elliott. I think Sam Elliott breaks the spade, and the contract is in there, isn't it? And he explains that he's the Ghost Rider. He's Carter Slade, and he then shows us, which was already blatantly obvious from the start of the film, that he was a Ghost Rider, and he goes all CG terrible skull as well, and he looks awful. I thought Johnny looked bad as the Ghost Rider, but Sam Elliott's Ghost Rider looked even worse. And when he tried to talk, because you couldn't even try and read his lips, it was just babble. It was just there's like a CGI skull going up and down, going. I couldn't understand anything. And then we got this like really cheesy music as they both rode off through the desert, and all the way along. And then I thought he was going to help him fight, but he's literally just showing him where San Vagonza is, or whatever it's called. Why did he need to? And he says like, I could only do this one more time. It's like, well, why did you use it? Why did you use it for that? Couldn't you just drawn him a map, or told him the directions? Why have you used your last? Because he doesn't fight, does he? He just says like that's the last time I can turn into the Ghost Rider. So he's just wasted. Probably gonna die now, but he's like wasted his last go. I mean, he might be in the sequel, but there's no friggin' way I'm watching number 2 because I didn't like number 1. So he gives him a gun, he gives him a shotgun, and he tells him to stick to the shadows, which kind of, I thought that comment, and I'm going to focus a lot on that comment, I thought, what a stupid thing to tell him to do. Is he telling him to go and hide by sticking to the shadows? Because he's this flaming skull. So sitting in the shadows is not going to fool anybody, because clearly you're going to see the fact that his head's on fire. But it's even stupider. So he goes and kills the Water Angel, which I thought... So we talked about this before, didn't we? Fire trumping water. What was that about? That was...
ridiculous.
But again, it made me laugh as well, because he gets dragged under the water by the guy who's always wet. And when do you know what? I missed something before, and it was I can't go back to it. I'll do it in the wrap up. I've one of again something that I thought was funny, but the water guy, he drags him under the water and he's basically choking and drowning Johnny Blaze, and then all of a sudden his eyes open and you just hear this really cheesy surprise and he actually says surprise and then goes on fire. And it's like, what is this film? What am I watching?
It's so bad.
It's awful, isn't it? And it gets
honestly
worse.
Why have you done this to us?
And then he I know, yeah, I didn't want to watch Catwoman, but I'm starting to think Catwoman would have been better now. And then somehow he burns. What does he boil him? He must just boil him. He sets the waterman on fire, but he doesn't.
He does start to bubble, so I assume he got boiled.
But he doesn't. He literally sets him on fire, burns to death, and it's like he's in the water. But I don't know, stupid. And then he goes and has the fight with. So he goes and confronts Blackheart as Ghost Rider, and then again we get this stupid spaghetti western moment where it kind of zooms in on each of their eyes. Did you see it? It zooms in on Johnny's eyes and then shoots the Blackheart's eyes and zooms into his eyes, and it just looked awful.
The only thing missing was the wow wow
wow wow wow. That's it. It's that moment in any film. If you've not watched it, I don't blame you. If you're still listening, you thought
all that was missing was the little. It was literally finger twitch by the gun holster.
Exactly. That's the only thing that was missing. So he gets beaten, doesn't he, by Blackheart, and the sun comes up. So because we've already been told by Sam Wilson earlier on in the film that you'll only be able to turn. He says you can only basically at night time when there's evil around, you'll turn into the Ghost Rider, which sort of implies that when the sun's up, you can't turn into Ghost Rider, which seems a bit of a stupid rule, but I was all right with that rule. But it gets stupider. So the sun comes up, he turns into Johnny Blaze again, and Blackheart gets the contract. And then he gets all the souls, doesn't he? And all the souls go into him, and he turns really blue this time. He looks like what he turns people into, doesn't he? Like a dead, decomposed, bluey black thing. And then he tells her that his name is Legion, but he doesn't just say that his name's Legion. He goes, "We are Legion."
Oh my god! I was like, "What the hell is this?"
And we are many. It's like, we get it. You can stop. Just again.
They have to be many because they're too fucking slow.
Many, and everything he says all the way through, he just keeps stopping. It's like, I'm going to kill you. It's like, fucking shut up. So we've got him over dramatizing everything he says, and then we've got Nic Cage going, okay, fine, not trying at all. And then all these, but before he turns into Legion, there's all these really bad CGI ghosts start coming out of all the walls and stuff like that. They looked crap. And then we find out that
really, I thought they were the best part of the whole film.
Did you? Oh, I thought they were awful.
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say they were crap. They were really not good. It was they looked a little bit like bordering on being Wallace and Gromit claymation. Sort of just being dragged across the screen. Again, just being 2D images just being dragged across. And then we find out, which again is just stupid. So we've been led to believe that he can only, in Sunrise, he won't have his powers. But apparently, if he goes into a dark room and turns the light off, he can have his powers because all he has to do is step into his shadow. And he can turn into Ghost Rider again, which is ridiculous.
Surprise!
So, but yes.
It's so bad.
I'm crying laughing.
Me.
I'm not even going to cut this out. Oh, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
I need to compose myself.
Oh, friggin' hell.
It's just but it's the whole point of it, being in the dark, it's all he literally has to do is in the future, lure a bad guy into a room and shut all the blinds and turn the lights off.
You just see the person in the corner as he starts to twizzle the blinds thing and he goes, no.
I'm not going in there. No way am I going in that room. Oh, funny. Seriously. Oh, bloody hell. So bad. So basically he steps into the shadow and he all of a sudden can become Ghost Rider again, which is ridiculous, we've said. And then he does, because Blackheart's now got a soul, or 1,000 souls, he can do the penance stare on him. And he he super kills him because not only does he remember all the bad things that he's done, he also remembers all the bad things that these 1,000 souls have done. So he kills Blackheart, and that's it. And then Blackheart's dead. And then Mephisto shows up, and he says, "That's fine, well done. I don't need you anymore. You can have your soul back, and you don't have to be Ghost Rider anymore." And then he does the stupid point, the Elvis Presley point and stance at Mephisto, and he gives this speech, which was nowhere near as good as Sam Wilson's at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I felt like that's what it was going for. And he basically says no. He says where something along the lines of wherever innocent blood is spilled, I'll be there, or some shite like that. And I'm going to use these powers to kill you. And it was awful. And then Roxanne says he's got a second chance, and I think that was him basically saying, I'm leaving. He's going to go around the world and stop evil. And then I think we get another voiceover from Sam Elliott. I can't remember.
I think we do,
I was just looking at the fact that we're nearly finished the film now, so I was kind of taken out of it.
Also, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why was the horse a demon?
What? Because I just take it as like
the bike's an inanimate object.
Yeah,
was
but
this horse
I don't
a
get
cannibal? Was it a murderer? Was it something like, because what they've done is basically demonized a poor horse?
I think that I get the impression it was just a horse. It was just a normal horse, and he turned him into that whenever he turned into a Ghost Rider.
It's abuse,
yeah. Set the horse on fire. Bastard. Bastard. But then before the very end of the film, we see Sam Elliott, just before we get to the wrap up, we see Sam Elliott. We hear Sam Elliott do his overview, and then Johnny Blaze, completely different film. Johnny Blaze. I'd rather be watching Mortal Kombat, not even the new one. I'd rather be watching the Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation, the really bad one. The CG was better. So he comes to the screen and he does like this weird eyebrow at the screen, doesn't he? Did you see it? Stupid, like people's eyebrow at the end, which was horrendous. And then thank God for that. That was the end of the film. What a bad film. But awful. I enjoyed it the first time. I mean, look at it. Have we ever done a review on the podcast where we've laughed this much?
No.
I enjoyed the fact. I think we might laugh like this on Thor 1 and 2 when we did Loki Takeover, to be fair, because they were bad as well. But yeah, it was good. One bit that I didn't talk about. I don't know why. I must have breezed past it. When in the middle of the film, when Blackheart rolls and the Hidden and the three guys roll up just before Johnny kills the Earth One. When they roll up to this place that used to be the graveyard, I noticed they're all stood there in like really shit trench coats, and it just reminded me of how opposite it is to Zemo doing Sokovia. It's like they were it was like a really good trench coat that everybody really liked and was interested in, so they made a skit of it. And this was like
more like a flasher Mac.
it was like shit trench coats or us or something like that. It was just they were all sat there in this shit. But I said the whole film, it was funny. Nic Cage completely phoned it in clearly.
Yeah,
I think they all did, to be fair. Sam Elliott seemed to be giving it a good go, but Eva Mendes was bad. Donald Logue was bad, and the guy who played Blackheart, I don't even know who he is, but he was not good.
Donald Logue, I think in general, is quite a slapsticky actor anyway, in the sense that everything with him has got to have comic relief, no matter how serious it is.
Yeah.
Because even in Gotham, he was a bit of the comic relief.
Yeah, I've only seen the first.
Detective aside from Gordon, do you know what I mean?
I don't think I've watched the whole thing, but yeah, I get that. He had a little, yeah. There's
always like what the best way to describe it is like a bit of a flair, and
he was supposed to be that though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was supposed to be the comic relief in it, and to be fair, he was probably the most serious, best part of it. He was probably the one who came across least as slapstick and trying to phone it in, but he was clearly supposed to be the funny one. I mean, who watched this when they were editing this film and thought Nic Cage is doing a good job here and he's being serious? I mean, it was just I can't remember any of the marketing for it, but I wonder how it was. Whether like trailers, and we should have done this. We should have gone back and watched the trailers first, because obviously the trailer for a movie shows you how it does, obviously, you can have a trailer be really good and the movie be shit. We've seen loads of that, and vice versa. You can have the trailer be crap and the movie ends up being quite good. But the trailer, in most cases, sets the tone for what the studio thinks the movie should be.
Yeah.
And I wonder how the trailer was put across. Was it put across as this is a little bit slapstick and a bit stupid, or were they trying to go for a serious, gritty film? I hope they were trying to go for serious and gritty, because that makes this even better if that's what they were trying to do, because it was so far from it. But yeah, thank you listeners for voting us to do that. I thought it was going to be bad. I was hoping that we'd have Green Lantern, to be fair, because I thought that'd have us laughing. But
I've never seen Green Lantern either, so it would have been the first time of me watching it.
We'll have to do that. We'll definitely do these again. We've obviously got the Loki Takeover coming, and then we've got Black Widow. We're going to do a bonus episode for Black Widow. We've got Shang-Chi not long after, so I think we're going to be quite rammed with like new releases going forward. But certainly next time we have a week where we've not really got anything new coming out, we will 100% be jumping back on this to the bad movie reviews, because listeners might have not even tuned in because it said Ghost Rider, but also thought I don't want to listen to Ghost Rider. But yeah, I think that this was a good one. I definitely want to do more bad movie reviews. So if you're listening, for anyone who's stuck around, if you're listening, let us know on Twitter, Facebook, send us an email. Let us know what you want us to listen to, what you want us to watch, what are the bad movies you like us to watch in the future, and we'll 100% do them. And we might, if it's a particularly bad one, I was thinking that we should have done with this. We should have watched this together and just done like a running commentary of the film, because I think that would have been.
I think that's what we should do next time. To be fair.
Yeah. We should do that. We'll put like a poll out again whether people want us to do that. But if you're listening, you'd like us to do like a commentary of a bad movie next time, so that you can listen along and just play it. We'll do that in the news at the start of the episode and stuff, as we always do. But we could just sit and do a commentary. So if that's something that you guys would like to listen to, let us know. No theories, or there's no theories. I've got a theory about Ghost Rider. It was shit and we won't get another one, but that was pretty much it. Although we got a number 2, which apparently is better.
Spirit of Vengeance or something it's called, isn't it?
I've heard that it's better. I've heard that number 2 is a better film. Whether it's better because it's so crap, I don't know, but maybe we'll
knew what to expect.
Yeah, everyone knew what was knew it going in. Maybe they've taken the route of that was a bit slapstick, let's go down the slapstick route. So maybe. That'd be. I don't think it'd work. It only works and it's only funny because it wasn't trying to be shit. But yeah, so no theories. We've done thoughts. So we'll wrap it up. So if you want to get in touch with the show, we're on Twitter at Superhero Thing. We're on Facebook, which Anthony runs a Facebook page. I do the Twitter page. We've got the website as well. That's superherothing.com. You can go there. All the episodes are there. If you go to the Contact Us section, all our social media links are in there. And there's also a link to the Anchor website, which is the host for our podcast. If you click that link, you can leave us a voice message on the podcast and we will look to include you in there. So whether it's a theory, questions, thoughts on something that we're going to be watching that week or we have watched, particularly with Loki, we'd love to get as many people on the show as possible through voice messages to let us know, what your theories are for the next episode, that sort of thing. Yeah. So definitely get in there. You can also send us an email if you want to get in touch that way. It's info@thatsuperherothing.com. And that is pretty much it. So from me, thank you very much for sticking with us through a whole review of Ghost Rider. Hopefully you'll come back next week for the Loki Takeover. We'll put all the details of it on all the social media, the dates and everything like that. But yeah, thank you very much from me, and we'll
hope all 3 of you that are left have enjoyed it.
Yeah. Right. So, thanks guys.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.